Two quick messages. The first one is independence. The second one is complicating life. There is no such thing as complete independence. The idea of complete independence means you don't rely on anyone or anything for anything. And that is virtually impossible. What independence means is that you are independent of something. So it is relative. So when we speak about children being independent, we mean they are independent of their parents. However, they are still dependent on maybe a boss somewhere and their job. They may run a business and they are dependent on their employees doing a good job. They are dependent on their customers buying from them. There is no such thing as complete independence. I've said something similar, especially to Black South Africans who keep speaking about economic freedom in our lifetime. Economic freedom can only exist if there is economic bondage somewhere else. If you want to be economically free on your own, I'm rich, I earn passive income. That passive income comes from the work of other people. That means you've probably invested in the stock market, in unit trusts, you maybe own property. There are people in the stock market. The stock market is in listed companies. In those companies, there are employees that work every day so that your shares can grow in value and can pay you dividends. If you're invested in unit trusts, similar. If you're invested in property, there are people in your property that have to pay rent. Where they get their money from that rent is they have to go and work somewhere to earn a salary so that they can pay you rent. If they all had money like you, they wouldn't need to rent from you. So you need other people to make money for you so that you don't have to work. That's on an individual level. If your family wants economic freedom, it means they need other families to buy from your family or to give money to your family. If you look at some of these communities like the Jewish, Muslim, white Afrikaner, Chinese communities, some of them are economically free because they have businesses out there, they have employees out there from other groups and other families that work really, really hard so that they don't have to. You can take this to a city, you can take this to a province, you can take this to a country. If China is going to achieve economic freedom, it will only be because they found a way to get other countries to work for them. America became something like that at some point, where they outsourced so much of their labor to Asia so that the American people didn't have to work as hard. Some of the oil-rich countries do the same thing. The people there are rich, they economically free, but it requires economic bondage somewhere else. So remember that independence, full independence does not exist. You are always independent relative to something else. Second thing is this. We've made things so difficult in our lives. I'll speak about independence. The capitalist system has convinced almost all of us when we're young to strive for independence. And again, I've explained independent relative to your parents or independent of your parents. But they want you to be dependent on the system. So you no longer need mom and dad to house you, to feed you, to help you with clothing, to help you with transport. They want you to now depend on a boss somewhere else to pay you so that you can house, feed, clothe, etc. yourself. And we've made it so difficult. And if you look at some of the nations and the families and the communities that win, it's the ones that try to keep things as simple as possible. If your parents have got a home, 4-bedroom home, shout out to moms. Mom's got a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs in Newcastle from a teacher's salary with 3 children by herself. If you've got a 4-bedroom house like my mom did, she had 3 children, myself, my brother, my sister, Penson and Penrose. That's 4 rooms for us. So when we start making money, we're actually meant to live at home. My mom's got her room, I get my room, my brother has his room, my sister has her room. If we happen to get partners, our partners move in with us. Now instead of 4 people, because the 3 of us now have partners, so it's 6 plus 1, now there's 7 people in one house bringing in income. Can you imagine if each of us are bringing in 10K, it's about 7, that's 70,000. Quickly get to pay off the house, easy to pay rates and taxes and the like. And now what we can do, which is pretty dope, is we can take the extra money and start investing it, either in a business or in another property. Once we've bought another property cash, we can either rent it out for extra income, or maybe one of these families, let's say my sister and her partner, they can now move into that house. Paid off, because we did that. We've made life difficult, and a lot of us are running away from our families, from what our parents did for a living, from our communities where we've got social capital, where it would be easier to get tenders, easier to get jobs, easier to start a business. I grew up in Newcastle for 17 years. That's 17 years of networking, of building a brand for myself. I went to Newcastle junior, senior, primary and high school, and Chelmsford Primary. I've played sports, I've sang in choirs, I've been a head prefect. I'm known by so many people, and my mom's known, and my father's known. So when I start a business there, I've got so much social capital. People will support me because they've known me for so long, because they've known my parents for so long. I've got a younger brother and a younger sister. Their friends can now come and support me because they're like, isn't that your old brother's business? When I'm looking for work, imagine that entire network that helps me get a job so easy. My mom was a school teacher. My dad was a building inspector. I need to start there looking for work. It's so easy. I call it accumulated advantage. I speak about it in a chapter in my book called Parenting with Penwell, where I speak about the power of accumulated advantage, taking on the social capital, the networks, the resources that your parents, grandparents, friends have built, and then leveraging those for success. So that's what the family part. Again, what capitalism has done is it's made us move so far away from our people. There's so much value in doing some of the hardest stuff. A mother should be training her daughter how to cook and bake herself. Capitalism will tell you you need to work, so you don't have time to teach your child. Your child now has to be sent to a school somewhere that you have to pay for to learn how to cook and how to bake. That's fine. This is where the problem comes. The cooking and the baking that your child is learning from their mom is more than just cooking and baking. It is actually bonding with your mother. Because while you're chopping vegetables, while you're switching on the stove, you guys share stories. Your mother gets to learn which boy you like, which girl is actually quite problematic at school. She finds out how you're doing at school. She gets to hear your interests. She maybe, while you guys are busy chopping, she gets to teach you certain songs you may need, maybe when you get married, at a funeral, or somewhere just in life. She'll tell you about some of her stories, some of her adversities, some of the ways that she's found shortcuts in life, just by bonding with her. But now, because your mom is at work making money, because you're being taught somewhere where she has to spend money, you guys don't bond. And when you guys try to build a relationship, you guys clash. So what do you need to do thereafter? Now you guys have to go and find and pay a therapist to try and deal with your issues. You would not have needed therapy if you guys had spent that time bonding. This is why fathers need to teach their sons how to ride the bicycle. Fathers need to teach their sons and their daughters how to drive a car. It's teaching them a skill, an important life skill, but there's bonding there. You get to learn how your father thinks, how he teaches. Maybe he's strict, maybe he's very understanding. You get to learn about your child. You know, I've been teaching, let's say, for example, 3 of my children how to drive. This one's got a hot head. This one is so easy to teach. This one, was taken really, really long. But I get to know my children by having contact with them. You also get to hear the things that they're up to. My son, for example, Malanga, loves football. Now, if he wasn't in China with his mom, he'd be in South Africa with me. We would have watched the World Cup together. We would have probably bet on sports together. And through that, I would have taught him how to deal with numbers, because sports betting's got a lot to do with numbers. Probability is risk. I would have taught him how to research which teams are playing, how odds and those things work. And we would have bonded on which players. If maybe he supports Argentina and I support France, he gets excited when Argentina wins. I get sad when France loses, but it becomes this cool thing that we have. And we chat about it. And because he's my son, because I'm plugged into business, I'm plugged into using social media, I can take him to Fordsburg, Mayfair. I can take him to China City and I can be like, let's look for Messi jerseys. Let's look for Mbappe jerseys. And you as Unkunz Malanga, you're going to go on TikTok. You're going to go on Facebook. You're going to go on YouTube. And you're going to model these jerseys. And you're going to tell guys, what's up guys? It's me, Nkunzi, Tonaya Penuel, Nombali. I'm selling these really dope jerseys for Kylian Mbappe and Lionel Messi. If you guys would like to buy them, you can order them from me. Send an email or maybe DM me on Instagram. My father helps me to run this thing. If you want your name printed underneath Mbappe's name, let's do that. And I help him. And we go to town. And I show him some of the businesses that are printing. One of my friends, he's bought a printing machine. So I take him to Sia, Uncle Sia. Uncle Sia shows him how to use the machine. All of a sudden, he's working there. Not only is he working with myself, he's working with my friend, he's building a network, and maybe he's teaching Usia's son Ukamva how to use the machine as well. And Ukamva is also now promoting at his school to other kids that I can do this for you because myself and Unkunzi have started this business because our dads, Usia and Upenwell, have started this thing. That's the beauty of simplifying things. You want to get a treadmill instead of hiking in nature. The treadmill is dope, but what happens in nature is you get to smell fresh air. You get to get hit by the sunlight. And if you happen to be traveling with someone on this hike, you guys get to bond. Your children, your parents, your friends, your cousins, etc. I just wanted to share those two messages with you. Have a great and blessed day. Pin you all the black. Pin!